Hello and welcome. My name's Sura. I'm a meditation coach and trainer offering meditation teacher trainings through Liberate. Today, talking about how to start a meditation circle. And the way to begin is to start with your intention. What's your intention for hosting a circle? And to take some time with this, because this will help you connect to a deeper meaning and higher purpose in creating the circle space, because it can be at times challenging. And this is something that you'll find will anchor you and ground you and give you the confidence to move forward when things aren't certain. So starting with your intention, and then think about who you want to serve. Who is your circle for? And oftentimes people teaching mindfulness or meditation, they want everyone to feel included. And anybody could come to the circle, but sometimes it helps when people know how they're going to benefit or if it's for them. So for example, saying meditation circle for healing or a meditation circle for busy professionals, stating the intention through the title of your circle offering, and then deciding how often you'd like to offer your circle, if it's once a week or twice a week or once a month. The most important thing is that you're consistent. People respond to consistency. So whatever you choose, just making sure that you show up each time and you come early to set up the space, to welcome people in. So decide on the structure of how you'd like to host this circle experience. Is it 8 weeks, once a week, 6 weeks, every other week? Decide on the rhythm and structure of how you'd like to create your circle. And when you're deciding on what you'd like to offer, think of something that's fun and joyful for you as somebody who's leading and facilitating. If it's something that you love, that you really connect to, that you're passionate about, that's really going to transmit and touch the people that you're connecting with. After you have thought of your intention, who you'd like to serve, perhaps even the title of your offering, then put together a little bit of content. Is it for beginners? Is it for all levels? How long is it going to be? What are people going to receive through the circle experience? What are the benefits, the takeaways? People are interested in, how is this for me? So making sure that you answer some of those questions, finding a good space where it's quiet, it's contained, it's peaceful, making sure that you have that level of space as you're offering this, because you want to feel good in that space. That's an important thing, where you feel solid, you feel supported. That will really come through in your meditation guidance. So finding that space, putting down the details of how they can get in touch with you or even sign up. That's also a good idea if you're going to charge for your circle. Most classes, if you were to equate it to a class, are $15 to $24. Some people do donation based and some people do free plus donation. So you get to decide how you would like to charge, what you want to charge, how people can pay. Think about those things ahead of the circle meeting space. Who is going to handle the payment or the signups? Is it going to be you? It might be you, and people can pay online through PayPal. So just have an idea of that so that you're not dealing with so many elements right before you're going to be hosting this sacred space. You want your attention and your focus to be towards holding that sacred space, not necessarily having to deal with registering people or signing them up or having them pay. Or do your best to make it a very seamless, easy process where you don't have to put a lot of effort into that, or ask somebody to help you, like an assistant. So now that you have thought about some of those logistical elements, now your actual circle, what's the format of hosting a circle? We'll generally think of it as a beginning, middle, and end. So the beginning part could be an intro about you, very brief, perhaps an intro talk, what they sometimes call a dharmic talk, a teaching that you want to convey, or a focus for that day's meditation. And again, if you've decided on what your circle is about, perhaps you have a theme each time. And that's something that you're working with every time people come. You're building upon the same basic theme. And so you start with that talk. Something that I highly recommend is that if you're teaching meditation techniques and tools, to teach the same techniques and tools consistently all the way through, because that's the way people learn. They learn through repetition, through practice. And if you come every time it's a new class or a completely new format, it can sort of throw off that space. People don't know what they're coming into. It's uncertain. And it helps to have a little bit of that structure and the anchoring with the tools, practicing those tools over and over again. You can always layer in new tools or new information, but kind of having a foundation of, what are people learning? What's the meditation practice that they're learning with you? And to really think about what you would like to focus on. So you have that beginning intro talk. That might include a reading from a book, or it could include poetry, or perhaps even ancient texts. It could be anything, just a talk that's a free flow talk. The lesson of the week or what you experienced. Maybe it's a story that's going to demonstrate how these tools are going to help them. And then you have the middle section of the meditation. And again, focusing on those tools that you want to emphasize or those practices. So if you're teaching awareness meditation, to always have that element of awareness meditation practice in that middle section. And let people know as you start the meditation, you can kind of set them up with their posture, their eye gaze, perhaps connecting them to their breath and their body, letting them know how long the meditation is going to be, how much of it will be guided, and then also how much of it will be silent. Perhaps, there's 10 minutes of guidance and then 10 minutes of silence, or where there's very little meditation guidance. So letting people know in advance how long that meditation section is going to be. This is going to be 10 minutes or 20 minutes. And that way people can have a level of expectation. You're not just leaving them sitting in meditation without them knowing how long they'll be sitting for. And then you have the meditation guidance. So you can facilitate that in any way that you choose. There's so many different types of creative meditations. Generally speaking, there are active meditations and passive meditations. Active being more of a focus or a concentration or affirmation, and then passive types of meditations where it's just being open and allowing anything that arises to come to the surface of their awareness. So it can be any type of spiritual practice, and then having a close, an end to the practice. If you like, you can use a sound bowl. This is a wonderful way to awaken the senses and to invite a close. You could also Om. But having some kind of practice to close the circle, close the practice, and you can invite that close with a cue. your guided meditation is complete, or let's take the energy from this guided practice and invite it into our hearts, into the center of our being, and send this as blessings to everyone, all living beings in the world. Applying that practice, giving it back, or even connecting to a sense of gratitude or surrender, and then having this close. And I recommend having the close of the meditation section before going into discussion. So if you have a separate section for discussion, you might say, now we're going to, spend some time. I'm happy to hear what your experience was like, or if you had any questions, and opening up that space for discussion, connection, and community. And if you like, you can set the time for that space, or you can let it be open where people can get up and go get tea, talk to each other, or it can stay in that circle format. But it's a way for people to integrate when they're able to share about their sacred experiences in a safe space. It allows them to integrate that experience and to embody it. There are some other things that you might want to bring into your circle, but I do recommend that if you bring these things in, to ask for people's permission, just to make sure that they don't have any allergies. Some people are quite allergic to things with scents, but you can have things. I really recommend setting the space of your circle by clearing the energy. You have sage. This helps to really, when you burn this, it clears the fields. If there's any fragmentation or hard energy in the room, it just really sets the tone of peace. This is Palo Santos, and you can also burn this. These are wonderful ways to set a sacred space before you host the meditation circle. I recommend coming 15 to 30 minutes early to make sure that you have a nice clean space. You've set up the chairs, or the way people will be sitting on the floor with the bolsters or cushions. Just making sure that everything's prepared, because people really like that feeling of being invited in and things being ready for them. Also, you might want to have candles. So if you have candles, making sure that they're safe in a container and unscented, possibly, preferably, because again, people have allergies. So you can set up a few candles to help set the tone, that peaceful place. It's like a sanctuary when they come in. What you can also have are essential oils. And again, asking people their permission, perhaps at the beginning, just even, passing it around, letting people put some essential oils on themselves as an initial practice. It just really helps to set that tone. I love using lavender because most people love the scent of lavender. And generally everyone is good with this one, but again, asking permission, because all it takes is one person who could be allergic. And then you might have things like the bowls, and you can use the bowls as part of your circle space. So this is how you start a meditation circle. My advice to you is to come with an open heart, with no expectations or attachments to how your circle needs to be. Because remember, you're starting with your pure intention of what you'd like to create this experience with your community. And if one person comes, that's okay. If there's 2 people, great. If there's 20 people, wonderful. It really doesn't matter what those numbers are. What matters is that you show up, that you stay dedicated, that you commit to the process, because we're in, new times, and people are creating these new spaces to connect. So sometimes that takes time to build that. It can take time to build a class or to build a circle. What's required is patience, perseverance, and also humility and faith. So remember to these qualities, how important they are, and they'll give you the strength and the resilience to have the confidence to keep hosting, inviting people. Some people will come, some people won't come back, some people will come back, and to be open to having a new experience every time. I have hosted classes before, occasionally, where it's one person or no one has showed up. And what I've done in those cases is I've sat and I had my own meditation practice. I set the space just by being there myself, and that's enough. So remember that we all start somewhere, and your intention is beautiful. If this is something you want to do, you can do it. If you want more support, come visit our Liberate Meditation Coach training. We host it a couple times a year. It's 12 weeks. And we really walk you through the process of discovering your own voice and practice and meditation and what you love to practice, what you love to share, really connecting to that space. Lots of love to you. Thank you for listening. Namaste.